Hello and welcome to this puzzle run, part 30 on chess.com, where you can follow along as I solve these puzzles. And remember, solving tactical puzzles and problems regularly will help you improve your chess. Alright, so we have the white pieces here, and black has just moved his king from g7 to h6 here. So interesting. Maybe he's trying to cut our king off, but what do we have in response here? Let's see. And what is the excuse me? What does the material look like? Well, it looks like we could pick off this knight here. What else do we have? We could pick off the knight, but then he could pick off this pawn. All right. Are there any other problems that we could have here? Well, all right. And as always, feel free to pause the video if you need more time to think. All right, so let's see here. It looks like we could just take this knight. I don't know, but that looks pretty obvious, and a lot of times in these problems, I don't know, they'll have an obvious move, and it might not be the best one. It looks like if we could capture this knight, then move our queen here and block off the king. Block off the king from escaping, and then we could threaten a mate here with this pawn on g5. But if we just went there immediately, he could escape back here. All right, so maybe that is a good plan. Let's see if there are any surprises. Well, I don't know. It looks like we should take that knight, try and head over here to f6, attack his rook, then threaten mate here. All right, let's try that. I'll take one quick look and make sure we're not missing something better. Any surprise checks? If there's a threat here, that could be a problem. So if this queen, if we go here and capture, and he captures this pawn, then he threatens to just move here. We could move our rook up there to cover that. But then he could go here. So if we capture here. Okay, now it just got a little bit trickier. So if we captured the knight and he captures this pawn, threatening to check us here on f2, then that would be a mate because the king cuts off our escape. So if we go there, we would have to put our rook here to cover that, but then he could just capture this pawn on f4. So maybe we have to check the king first. Let's see. So check, the king would just run back here. Okay, so maybe that's what we have to do first, is check the king. He goes up here. Now we can take the knight. If he captures here, we can check the king again. And once he moves, we can take the rook and check him again. And then, I don't know, that looks to be the best way. Oh, nope. So it didn't like that. All right. Well, the other option was to just take the knight. See, now why didn't he go and take this immediately and then threaten a mate? Well, see, now we can just do that, then this, then this, then then I guess we could do that again, protect this. All right, well, I don't know. I don't see why he didn't just take this pawn and threaten a mate here on our king. All right, I'll try to do 4 more problems. That way this video doesn't run too long, because sometimes I get stuck for quite a while in one problem since these problems are getting harder. It says that puzzle rating was 2721. I don't know if that was a 2700 player rating on those puzzles. I'm not sure how they rate these. All right, let's move on to the next one. The king has moved here to g5. So the obvious move is to just fork the king and the queen here. So f4. Sorry if I spouted that out too fast without giving you time to calculate. All right, f4, forking the king and the queen looks to be the best move. All right. All right, I apologize if I just blurted that answer out too fast. So let's move on to the next one, and I'll try and make sure to give you more time and pause the video if you need extra time. All right, so here we go. The king has just moved into the corner because he was probably worried about white moving a piece here, moving the rook, and a discovered check with this queen possibly. All right, so now what do we have here? Okay, we have 2 rooks lined up here. The queen aiming here. So once again, pause the video if you need extra time to think here. But looks like we could move the rook, and either capture the h6 pawn or the g7 pawn. If we capture here, we're threatening a mate by the queen, but why wouldn't he just capture with the pawn? So if rook takes h6, the g pawn can capture on h6, and I don't see too much of a follow-up here. maybe an answer would be, should we line up the queen here and triple up? But he could just push this pawn forward and attack us. Okay. Well, if we capture this pawn with our bishop and the pawn recaptures, well, then we could move up here with check. The queen would have to capture. Okay, I think maybe that would work. So let's double check that. Bishop captures on f6 here. I guess he doesn't have to capture, does he? He probably should, because then, we could just capture here. All right, but let's see first what happens if he captures our bishop. So bishop captures f6, pawn captures. We move up here with check. The queen would have to capture. We could capture, king captures, queen jumps up to g6, checking the king, forcing it to h8. Then we could just capture this rook and we're attacking the bishop. So that looks pretty good. But what if the bishop captures the f6 pawn and then the pawn does not take us? Well, then what kind of advantage could we get then? Do we just attack here? Okay, so I think this is the move. All right. Then that, then we recapture, then our queen checks. Okay, now we can just take the rook and check like that. And we're just ahead in material here. Let's see, 6 pawns to 5, plus these pawns are weak over here. And white should be good here. All right, we'll try another one. We'll do one more problem. That way this video doesn't go too long. Okay. The king was in check and has just moved to f7. So how can white continue an attack here in this position? Well, the obvious move may be to just check here. Just check. But what is a follow-up? What is a good follow-up? And if we look at the material, so we have 8 pawns for white and only 4 pawns for black. But black is ahead by a knight and a rook. So black is definitely ahead in this. How can we get some type of an advantage? If we would try and move the bishop here and block off this escape of the king, well, then we could just be attacked by the rooks here. The queen would be trapped. Okay. Well, we could, excuse me. We could, I don't know, attack. We could take this knight. Then if the other knight recaptures, then we check. the king, and we would be able to capture that other knight, but that would just bring us up. It would just give us another knight. But then what would we do after that? All right. Well, I don't know. This obvious check, does that do anything? Check here on queen to h7 check. If the king goes here, well, he can't go there. All right, queen to h7 check. The king would have to move off of this 7th rank. So if he moved here, we would have a mate with the bishop. If the king moved here, what could we do then? All right. What do we do if the king goes here? I don't see a follow-up. I mean, we could check with our bishop, but he could just recapture. If we check here, he could take, and then we could mate him right here. All right, I think that's the answer. All right. Well, I hope you found the answers to these problems. I hope you were able to solve them faster than I did. Just remember, regular tactics study, going over tactical problems is a quick way to improve your chess. Well, it can be, especially if you're starting out in chess, tactics and more tactics study will help you improve, because a lot of games are lost due to tactical errors. Until you improve your tactics, I would mainly focus on that. A lot of people like to study openings, but there are so many variations in openings. It's probably better to study endgame strategy and tactics, and keep your opening study maybe down to a minimum. But then again, if you get bored of your other studies and you really like studying openings, then go ahead and study them, because if you're not having fun while you're playing chess and studying, then you're less likely to study as much. So, just remember to have fun. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and feel free to leave comments or suggestions. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day.